what they don't realize out there when they're sitting in that audience is that I could go in there and be a referee. No, you couldn't be. It takes a long time to be able to go in there and do what we do.
The referee is the first one that catches a blame for anything if it goes wrong. It's just hectic. You're in the middle, you try to stay out of the way.
When your favorite doesn't win, there's always somebody to blame. You always want to blame somebody. It's easy to blame the ref.
I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I just kind of wish that we were shown a little more respect.
Now they started throwing stuff. I got hit above the temple with a golf ball, actually.
They're not worth speaking to. They're worthless and vile.
He paid money for his ticket, and he can say whatever he wants to say. As long as he don't put his hands on me, then he's going to be okay.
It's high time that they instate some harsher penalties for abusive officials.
I have them thrown out of the building. I don't care. We have their money. I'll get them booted.
Once you get into the match, you kind of forget, you even forget the crowd sometimes. You just don't. You just pay attention to what you're doing, focus. Try to stay out of the way of the wrestlers. Try to be fair to both guys. Try to just do your job. Just step in my shoes for a night, for a match even, and then complain after.
I could stop most matches in the first minute or two. But I realize that the fans out there have paid good money. They want to see a good match. They want to see a winner come out of it, as well as I do.
You always hate to end a match in disqualification or a count out. So sometimes you kind of try to let it go until you really can't let it go anymore. If somebody's getting really hurt, or they touch me, or something like that.
We're supposed to be the law. We're supposed to uphold the rules, because if you don't have rules in anything, then you've got total chaos. But it seems like every time that you try to do that, either somebody picks you up and slams you or hits you.
No ref's got eyes in the back of his head or can make the right call. If we all made the right calls, you'd be bored. I mean, so, maybe we're sorry if we make the wrong calls, but at least we give you something to argue with us about. At least you don't go home happy all the time. I think you should go home mad sometimes. Your life would be boring.
Just do your best at all times. I think the wrestlers, for the most part, understand that and appreciate that.
Anybody who really thinks that they could be a referee should try it sometime, and then they'll see it's not as easy as it all appears.
If they walk in our shoes for very long, they'll have braces all over their body.
I guess we just have to remain tough and go out there and just try to uphold the law as best we can. I just think it's high time that we need to put some rules back into the game.
Nobody's standing behind us right now.
Something really needs to be done about it, because we got a lot of refs hurt.
I shouldn't be touched.
We feel that we shouldn't be abused, or that we should be treated with respect, and just that, that's our position, is in there to enforce the rules.
We can't just keep being punching bags and tackling dummies for these guys.
We need to give the officials some power.
I've been thrown out of the ring many times.
I've been powerbombed by Sid Vicious and by Kevin Nash.
Sometimes it does get out of hand. Tempers flare, and people, their emotions flare, and they just get out of control sometimes.
Professional wrestlers are trained. They take this abuse all the time, the falls, the slams, the hits. Referees, we're not accustomed to that.
Sometimes somebody's emotion flares and I'm done with you, and I want to go and do what I want to do, and that's what happens.
It's getting too far out of hand.
We get hit, and what happens? Well, we ring the bell, it's a disqualification, the people go, ugh, and nothing ever happens to the guy that hit us.
I mean, I got a scar right here on my neck.
I've had this knee operated on 3 times.
I've been choke slammed a couple of times.
Thrown around like a rag doll.
I've had this knee operated on 1 time, wrist operated on. Scott Steiner blew my knee out. My body's got the scars to show for it. He's still here today. You see that happen to an NFL official or an NBA official or boxing official. You'd never see that guy ever participate in that sport again. But here it's commonplace.
You need to find these guys and put more responsibility back on the referee.
What's a $5,000 fine to a guy that's making $1 million or more a year?
And a little fine isn't going to do much to them, especially if they have a point to make. They'll do whatever they want.
If there are fines levied, I've never seen any of the money. Where does the money go?
We've gone from having a set of standards and a set of rules to pretty much anything goes.
I've had the pile driver supplied by Macho Man Savage, been diamond cutted by Dallas Page.
It's ridiculous.
I can see how Charles could take a bribe from somebody. If he's protected,
It's got to stop some way. I don't know how, but I've got some ideas.
That, even though sometimes their emotions might get out of check, or they, they might lose, their cool in that ring, that, we still are officials and they need to respect us.
I mean, it's really tough on your body, mentally and physically.
There's a lot of things that need to be changed and need to be rectified around here, and I hope that I have the opportunity to be in the driver's seat when those changes start taking place.
actually, I started in Florida in Tampa for Steve Kern, Mike Graham, Gordon Soley, and basically I was just thrown in the middle.
I went around to little small towns like, everybody green, trying to, turn out a good product, learn my trade.
I trained with Killer Kowalski the same time Perry Saturn did. I learned a little bit there, and more you learn by doing, though. You just do it and you learn more.
Put my time in, I drove the miles, and met some very interesting people that taught me the business. And one of them is Ric Flair.
I have been respecting Ric Flair ever since 74, 1974, not 1874, 1974. You do the math. I have all the magazines, I have all the videotapes, I have all the pictures and posters, all the shirts. I have the 4 Flair tag, I have the platinum blonde hair, but it's for respect. I have everything that the 4 horsemen represent. That's the best.
My father used to be a professional wrestler. I grew up around it all my life, and when I got out of high school, I went to college for a year, and I used to go on the road with him. And one night, some guys didn't show up to a show, and they had to rearrange the card, and they threw me in as a ref, and I've done it ever since.
When I come along, I was quick, young, and I kind of broke the barrier for younger referees to get in the business. So I worked hard and tried to learn everything I could.
I started out, I was making $20, $25 a night in Florida for a long time. Slept on a pool table in a bar that a friend of mine owned because I had no place to live. Couldn't afford anything.
When I was a kid, actually, my father was friends with a gentleman who was a promoter for WWF. I was broken in by an older referee who worked for the promotion that I first worked for, and I watched a lot of tapes.
I always followed pro wrestling growing up, and since I was about 6 years old, and always enjoyed it and wanted to be a part of it.
Ever since my grandfather took me to my first wrestling show up in Moline, Illinois, I fell in love with it. Being a referee still gives me the opportunity to get right in the middle of the ring. I'm involved with the action. To quote an old line from a Dusty Rhodes interview years ago, I've been on alleys and ate cold beans, but I've wined and dined with kings and queens.
After 20 years, I actually know what I'm doing. I thought I knew then, I knew what I was doing, but I really know now. You can't find a referee out of the newspaper. You can't learn in 3 months, 30 minutes. It takes years.